Hello everyone and welcome to my very first and hopefully one of many build showcases. Today I'll be showing off one of my favorite builds, even though it isn't really optimized. It's pretty close to optimized, but it's not quite there. And this is a light quad that is close range. A friend of mine calls it the Deathquad. I hope that's appropriate because it's pretty fun. It kills lots of things, and it's kind of an out of the ordinary quad. And if you look at any of my other builds, like from playing with me, you notice that a lot of my builds are kind of odd. They're usually kind of like medium to close range, with a bit of an emphasis on speed and handling over anything else. And this one is no exception to that rule. However, this one is also one of the most effective ones, and that's why it's nicknamed the Deathquad. So on the right hand here, we've got a shotgun. On the left hand, we've got a triple shot battle rifle. Shoots 3 in a row. That's why it's called the triple shot. On the back arms, we've got a plasma gun and another shotgun. And in the shoulder is a short range missile. So everything on this, everything on the weapon set for this mech is very short range. It will not really do very well against snipers or if I can't get at someone. But because this thing is fairly fast, it's actually not that hard to catch up to anyone. And I'll go into that in the assembly here. So this quad in particular runs a rather efficient combination of this generator, the G23, and the Tokonatsu booster. The G23 and the Tokonatsu booster are a very good combo in that they allow you to get a really high speed without burning through your energy too quickly. If you were to go for like this one, the L13, previously known as the Burya, you could go a little bit faster, but you'd also burn a lot more energy. If you look at the high boost energy consumption, the Tokonatsu only uses 12,615, whereas the Burya uses 17,963. So the boost numbers actually do increase significantly, but not enough for the longevity of the Tokonatsu booster to lose out to the Burya or L13. Outside that, those are right there. Those are the two parts that allow me to get a lot of mobility out of this thing. That in combination with the legs, but the legs are not quite as important. Legs here, L4B107. I believe these were called Beluga in the previous game. They allow you to move at a pretty reasonable speed, while they allow you to move at a reasonable speed of decent health, but they don't have really good defenses. As you can see, my KE defense is kind of low, and my TE defense is absolutely shit. But the CE defense is okay-ish, or at least for a quad. So my CE defense is okay-ish, and my KE defense is manageable. I do have enough KE defense to block out unboosted Jessup, but I do not have anything to handle KE missiles or any sort of strong rifles or anything really. However, most of the time rifles actually still lose to this quad because it just... The thing about this quad is that even though it doesn't have ideal defenses, it has enough speed and enough bulk to get in on someone and kind of smash their face in with raw DPS. That's what's nice about it. Because as you saw the handset, this shotgun right here, it does 919 attack, right? It doesn't look like much, it's power tune. But it's 919 times 15. So I'm gonna hit 15 times for 919 damage. Or not 919, but whatever like the damage is after reduction, which is gonna be like 100 to maybe like 120 per pellet usually. So I'm gonna do about 1,000, 2,000 damage on average per shot, assuming I hit with everything. And that's paired with this battle rifle over here, which is 2,000 per shot and fires 3 in a spread. Or not in a spread, it fires like it's a burst firing mechanism is what it is. It's the AUC H22. It's a very popular battle rifle, very popular for a reason in that it does a lot of damage very quickly. It doesn't require that you have a good lock speed to really make use of it, and it just does like insane damage if you can get in on someone who doesn't have the defense to block it. Because it does a lot of damage, but its CE attack is actually relatively low compared to other CE-based weapons. Like even like this Aragon Model 2 over here does more damage, and it's a fairly low impact battle rifle. You compare it to like the Strakoza over here, which has almost 3,000. But even though it doesn't do a lot of damage per shot, it hits 3 times. And if you pair that with the effect of the shotgun, which has the unique effect of having a high impact force. And impact force is unique in that if your impact force is greater than your opponent's recoil resistance, then you can stun them. And when you stun them, their defenses are lowered, and they also have their movement interrupted if their recoil resistance is really, really low. It's not as useful in this game as it used to be before, but it's still useful enough that this combination right here can do some good damage. So like heavy bipedals, light tanks, medium bipedals, they all hate this thing. These missiles right here are pretty much solely for the purpose of catching lightweights who are too fast to hit effectively with the handset. You start with 72 of them and they do decent damage, so you can use them to like blink someone for a couple of points of extra bonus damage, but they're not particularly amazing. I could easily swap these out for another missile, but I just chose these because they're the easiest to use, they hit the most reliably, and you get a lot of ammo for them. I could use like stealth missiles, which this stealth missile has more ammo and does more damage. It fires. It has a longer reload time, so I wouldn't be able to get as many missiles out as quickly. But these missiles don't hit anything. I mean, like they can hit anything if they try. Like for example, the missile guidance right there that I highlighted, it goes from 580 all the way down to 410. Other missiles that are more accurate, like for example, like the Jailer is considered a highly accurate missile. This has like 380. So these missiles are intended for like more like medium to long range use, or like on slow targets that aren't going to be able to dodge them very well. Whereas these right here are they're very good at catching people, and they're very good at chasing someone down. So if someone's trying to dodge missiles, then they're not going to be able to do too much unless they're pretty good at multitasking. And a lot of people aren't. So if I shoot some missiles at people and they don't have the defense to block it out, then they'll have to dodge. And if they dodge the wrong way, then I can catch them with a shotgun blast or something like that. So that's what those are for. Those aren't really there for damage, they're more there for the distraction. They do damage against very light units, but only against the lightest of light units. Most people will try to bring up enough CE to at least mitigate this damage. Also, weapons don't have one, don't need one. Right here, this is a plasma gun. This thing is basically DPS incarnate. You have no idea how much absurd amounts of DPS this thing does. So, it does 3,652 damage per hit, and it fires a little less than twice a second, right? So on average that's about 1,500 to 2,000 damage per attack, and when you pair that with a shotgun, which can do about the same amount of damage per hit, if you just sit on top of someone with a plasma gun, they're kind of dead. Like, so there's very little in the game that can actually effectively deal with a plasma gun. The only things are specially built tanks or TE shields, which are kind of rare. So if you have quads love to run away from me, because if I can get on top of a quad, because enemy quads are usually quite slow, this quad is an exception, it's quite fast. So if I can catch up to an enemy quad and just pump them full of plasma, they'll be dead in a matter of seconds. Like, they'll be dead so quickly, it's ridiculous. And that's why, even though I only have like I have like 37,000 health on this thing, I can actually outdamage almost anything in the game that doesn't have like auto cannons or something else ridiculous. So that's why I mentioned, like, if I fight someone else who has rifles, then they're not really a huge threat to me. So right here, this is a shotgun. This is a different shotgun from the other shotgun. This shotgun is designed to pair with the plasma gun, so that's why it's on the other shoulder. But this shotgun does less damage and has lower impact force than the other shotgun that I had on the main hand. But this shotgun also is significantly more accurate. It's more accurate and it fires faster. So the reason I'm going for that is because plasma guns are not very accurate, and so if I'm trying to catch someone with plasma, I want to get slightly more reliable damage, and this gives me that more reliable damage. Excuse me. Additionally, if I pair these two shotguns together, I can use those two shotguns to kill anything that is like highly resistant in both types, such as a tank. If there's a tank that is resistant to, if there's a tank that somehow has like over the 3,600 damage that this plasma gun does, like if their defense is over 3,652, then my plasma gun pretty much becomes kind of useless at that point. I mean, it can do some damage, but not enough to be worth it. So that's when I switch to dual shotgun and I start pumping full of lead, which is a very effective way to do it. Alternatively, if I can armor break them with this right-hand shotgun right here, then I can also use the battle rifle. Right here we've got this head, HF227. I like this head because it looks cool. It has decent stats all around. That's really the good thing about it. It has decent camera. Basically, all of its stats are average, but none are like exceptional or good. Really, even they're all average. I picked this head mostly because of style. I could easily go for a better head to give me like, the Starlight there would give me almost 1500 KE defense, which is enough to resist. I'm not sure if that's enough to resist unboosted KE missiles. I don't think it is. But this head has decent stats all around. It's a pretty good head. It's a very easy to use head. It's good for that purpose. Right here, this is the CA215, also known as the car door. The reason why it's called car door is because it's got this big ass metal plate on the front of it, as you can see right there. This thing is useful in that it has a really high AP value, and it also has high energy conductivity. Energy conductivity, that stat right there, that's at 125. That gives you better handling with your AC, so that the boosters are a little bit more responsive, and it also affects some other things, but they're not really important. Max recon, 40 recon units is also fine. The good thing about this is it has the second highest defenses of all the KE cores, and it also has really high health. This one right here has higher health by a small amount, but it also reduces the KE. And considering that my KE is already low, I don't want to go for that. I also want the high energy conductivity of the unmodified version. Because right here you can go for a modified version that has different types of armor. So that's what it's good for. It's a good core, definitely, but not on this build. Right here I got these arms. I don't remember what they're called in the regular game. I believe these are Isari and Ilmenau or something like that. These arms are cool in that they're very lightweight and they have very high fire and stability. They also have fairly high drain and pretty poor defenses, but it's not terrible, and the defenses are good enough that I can make it work. If you wanted to optimize this a little more, you'd probably want to go for something like this, the Jack, that has it would put you over 1500 defense, and you won't really lose much at all for it, really. I just kind of picked the other arms because I like the way they handle a little better. This is all preference, by the way. If you wanted to build something like this and you want to, you know, optimize it a little more, then you could definitely. The main thing about this is the playstyle, which is what's important. That was my phone because someone texted me. Right here, this FCS, the FO3, this is a wide type FCS. It is notable for having the widest lock-on ring in the game. It has a fairly short range. It's okay with missiles. It's okay outside of like being like really wide. It's okay everywhere else. It also has a very high drain. Not like insanely high drain like this FCS, but it has high drain and it doesn't have very long range. It has a very wide lock circle, but since this is a close quarters quad and quads don't exactly turn very quickly, that's why I picked this FCS, because it lets me hit people a little bit more easily and catch them with my lock-ons. Oh, additionally, I should probably go back and talk about the weapon tuning, since I've pretty much gone through everything except for the recons. So this one is tuned for power because more damage and more impact. That's just how you go with shotguns usually. In certain scenarios, it is acceptable to tune accuracy shotguns, but that's only on like builds that just can't afford anything else. And an accuracy tuned shotgun is a good, reliable way to do damage. This is tuned for power because it shoots 3 in a row. It has a pretty good fire rate anyway, so more damage. Most of the time in Armored Core, especially in this game, if you have a new weapon, you're not sure what to do with it, just give it damage. Damage is always good. This one right here is tuned for accuracy because if I were to compare it to like this power tuned one right here, that one does way more damage. You can clearly see that does almost like 5,500 damage right there. It doesn't suffer that much in the reload time either. The main problem is the muzzle velocity here. As you can see, the muzzle velocity drops from 200 to 125, and 200 is already really low, so 125 is very hard to use. If I were to compare that to like this reload tuned one over here, by the way, the tuning, the top bar is power, the middle bar is reload, the bottom part is accuracy. So this one right here is a reload tuned one. It does more damage, it fires faster, uses less energy, but it's also even less accurate. So that's kind of a no. So even though I would love to do more damage per second and have more energy, I can't really afford to miss any more shots than I already do, because plasma guns are horribly inaccurate. So that's through all the parts. I don't believe there's anything else I need to talk about. I mean, recon units is all preference. I should probably switch to this one because it gives better duration. That way I can make better use of my 40 recons. Alternate things you could put on this build. You could probably go for this one if you wanted to. There's no real benefit to it outside of the fact that you'd get like better energy recovery for spamming the plasma. Outside of that, there's no real reason that you would want to switch to it. It has lower overall stats. This one is not recommended just because you'll burn through the generator too quickly. Quads are already very high consumption in terms of energy, so you don't want to burn through that energy any faster. Generator, I would suggest that you stick with this generator. You could switch to that generator, but it's iffy. The Suzumishi is a generator that used to be really overpowered, and then it got nerfed and it's kind of terrible. Like the normal combination is to use the Suzumishi and this booster, which gives you infinite boost on pretty much anything. Like because that has a high boost energy consumption of 10,000, which is very low. So with that and the Suzumishi generator, which has 18,800 output, you can pretty much make anything go infinitely and just fly around forever. Which is cool and all, but you also get a huge cut to speed, because here I go to 294 high boost, 125 regular boost, And also, this booster is really weak outside of using the continuous boost, so I don't like it. It's okay. I mean, if you want to go for continuous boost, then that's the way to go, but I don't like continuous boost. I prefer the Tokonatsu with the G23. You could also go for a high capacity generator of some sort. This would be fine if you want to do like sort of like an ambush strategy where you run in, unload everything, and then get the fuck out. But I want to be able to mix it up a little bit more and move in and out as I please, so that's why I chose a high output generator. You could go for any of the high capacity generators. This one is okay. It's very light. The main advantage to picking that one is if you want to go for high armor, and that way you can stack more armor. But I feel like I've achieved a good balance with this mech. Right here, we've got all the balance generators. These generators are all okay. This generator right here is the strongest of the balance generators, but it's also absurdly heavy, so it cuts into your boost speed by a pretty decent amount. In fact, I think that's the heaviest generator in the game. Excuse me. So this is a balance generator that a lot of people like to use. I don't use it because I feel it's way too heavy for what it does. It's okay. It's okay. It's overall okay, but it's very, very, very heavy. It's not something I would ever recommend someone to use. I would always recommend a high output or high capacity over a balance type generator, unless you're using ultimate weapons, in which case I am okay with you using a balance generator. Now, alternate FCS choices, you could go with this one, which has better missile lock and is gonna get at longer ranges, but I don't really need the range anyway, and having the extra 4 units of lock-on size is pretty helpful. You could also go for this, which is way shorter. I mean, it's technically better for the missiles, and it's slightly faster as well, but it's incredibly short. Like 100 units of lock-on range is nothing. Like 150 is pushing it, kind of. You could also go for this as an alternate. This is smaller, but it has less energy consumption, and it is much better with the missiles. So if you want to use the missiles effectively, then I would suggest this one over the the FO3? Yeah, so FO3 and 303. 303 if you want to use missiles, FO3 if you want to use your guns more. I use my guns a lot, so that's why I go with the FO3. Long range, you don't want to use any long range on this for obvious reasons. This is a close range mech. Long range FCSs are just not suited to this kind of combat. They're too narrow, they have too much strain, they also have very poor missile performance usually. Legs for alternates, you could really go with anything that keeps a decent amount of speed. You could go with, this one right here. This one is going to have higher overall stats, but it's going to be slightly slower. If you want to hit important defense numbers, then you should definitely go for this leg over the other one. I go for the speed. This is fine right here if you want to go for more defense. Obviously, so movement controls your speed, turning performance and jumping performance. The jumping performance and turning are kind of important to me, so that's why I went for the, whatever the hell the other one was that I got. It's right here, the 119. These are, like I said, these are better defense, but slower. Slower, less jumps, and slower turning. Otherwise, they're improved in every way. They also have lowered energy consumption, which is nice. These right here, the Kyohime, these are also an option, because they let you hit the KE numbers while also getting really high CE defense, which you can use to block out like all battle rifles if you're scared of battle rifles. Because battle rifles are scary, and if you're fighting a lot of battle rifles, then this is a viable option. But otherwise, I wouldn't go for it. Again, it's higher defense, slower speed, slower turning, slower jumps. Cores, or no, for arms. Let's go to arms. So arms, like I mentioned earlier, this Jack arm is a good alternate. Any of these like high fire stability arms right here, like this one, these are all good alternates because you want to get your fire stability up for the shotguns and for the triple shot. The plasma doesn't really benefit as much from it because it's an energy weapon, so it doesn't really have a lot of recoil. But for projectile weapons like the battle rifle and the shotguns, you want to have high recoil resistance, or not recoil resistance, fire instability. There we go. Because this one has 188, which is pretty high, so that's why I go for it. Alternate cores, you could go for. No. Where is it? You could go for either of the CB209 variants. They both have higher KE defense at the cost of some AP and handling, which is useful again if you're trying to reach a certain number of KE defense. This one right here only has 90 energy conductivity, this one has 100. They also have the advantage of having more recon units, so if you want to experiment some more different types of recons, you should consider these, because more recons is good recons. And there's that. Oh, for helmets, I mean heads, I guess. why am I saying helmets? Am I thinking of Warframe still? I don't know. So for heads, this is a little bit more varied. This right here has, these two heads have very high AP but poor defenses. They're viable if you want to stack AP. Otherwise, I wouldn't suggest them because they have, I mean, they also have good stability, which is good, so they let you maintain decent speed. But like defenses on this are low enough as it is, and if I were to drop my KE defense any lower, I would get into situations where there's some really dangerous weapons that could hit me for effective damage. These right here, these two heads, they're kind of okay. They have really terrible stability, really terrible camera. They're not worth using on this build in my opinion because they cut all of your mobility too much. I mean, right here, I mean, it's only 7 points of high boost, but 7 points of high boost and 14 points of turning is kind of enough to make me not want to use them. Because again, it's a fairly minor difference, but I don't gain a lot of defense and I lose a decent amount of mobility, so I don't feel it's worth doing. I also lose some hacking speed, which is kind of important in certain multiplayer scenarios. For other heads, this one is fairly viable just because it gives you good speed. It has obviously nothing for defense or health, which kind of goes against the whole AP stacking thing I was talking about. But it does give you really good speed, it has really good stats overall except for armor. For CE heads, pretty much any of the CE heads would be valuable for this. You could definitely go for this one since it gives you the most speed in the game. It also has like fairly high drain as well, but this one will give you the most speed. I just didn't go for it because again I don't want that KE to drop any lower. Same for like these Yugiri models. So yeah, the Umege, Yugiri, and HC129 are all very good heads. You could easily use them on pretty much anything, but here I already have a lot of CE defense, so I'm trying to go for a KE head to balance the defenses a little bit. This one right here is a... this one's okay. It's good in certain situations, not here. TE heads, I'm not building for TE defense, so I'm not even going to bother with any of these heads. They're all way too heavy. They're all way too heavy and way too slow for what I need on this build. They do give a lot of AP, but since I'm not building for TE defense, I'm building for KE defense, I can't really use these parts very effectively. And the main reason I went for KE defense is because it let me I can get away with the KE defense a little bit easier than I can with TE defense. Because quads are generally very weak to TE defense. Like as you can see there, the KE defense is 390, but while the TE defense is only 80. So because I have more KE defense, it's a little bit easier to take advantage of that slightly higher KE defense and build something with mixed defenses. So there's that. That's all me talking about the stats. See how much time's been? It's been about 20 minutes. Wow, I can spend 20 minutes talking about stats. We'll go real quick into a test just so I can show how quickly this thing can wreck shit. So we're gonna go up against the tank because you know it's a good way to show off your DPS. I'm not even gonna use the battle rifle, even though this tank in particular is very weak to battle rifles. I'm gonna use the plasma gun. I'm gonna use a plasma gun against a tank. All right. So let's see what happens. This tank might also be like retarded and it's built like with really high TE. Let's find out. Oh, it does have really high TE. Well, whatever. Let's go and do it. I just want to prove a point here, just how much damage plasma guns can do.
System combat mode.
And this is kind of all you do if you get someone who can't really dodge out of you can't dodge out of the plasma. You just stay on them and keep shooting. Now mind you, the AI bots in particular are really bad at getting out of situations like this where you're just shooting them in circles. Oh yeah. So AI bots in particular are really bad at getting out of situations where you're just kind of behind them.
System combat mode.
Excuse me.
System.
And mind you, most of the damage here I'm actually doing is probably with my shotgun, but the plasma gun is still doing decent damage. Even though this is a tank with over 4,000 TE defense, and I'm only doing 3,600. So, alright, so there. Now I need to purge my plasma gun, because I ran out of ammo for it. Also, the funny thing is, even though this tank can do like shit tons of damage to me, I still have enough health and enough mobility that he can't really effectively kill me. Mind you, this tank can't really kill most fast mechs, but the fact that this thing is as bulky as it is with these high damage weapons, the fact that it's that bulky with that much damage, and I can still move around, is what I like about this build. I get lots of speed, I get lots of damage, and I get lots of health too. The only thing is that I have poor defense, and all my weapons are short range, so there's not a lot I can do against something that's fairly long range. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm just going to go up against this light bipedal enemy AC real quick, just so you can see how much damage a plasma gun does if you get someone who's stupid enough to stand in front of you. Or if you get like bladers who are trying to run at you and they want to,
Combat mode activated.
like, if you get people who are blading at you and they want to run at you because they want to hit you in the face with that blade real bad, here, this is an example of the kind of damage they're going to be taking from plasma guns. And dead.
System scan.
There you go, plasma guns. Best gun in the game.
Complete.
So much damage. One of my favorite guns in this game just because look at all that damage. Look at how quickly that dude died. Mind you, it was kind of useless against that tank in comparison to how good it was against that bipedal because of the sheer difference in defenses. But that thing absolutely melted in seconds. And most people aren't going to have enough defense to resist being melted by plasma, so you're going to melt most people that you fight with this thing if you use the plasma. And that's the main thing that makes this thing so dangerous, is that I can get on someone and I still have enough energy to blast them full of plasma for who knows how long. So then, I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed this showcase of my build. If you enjoyed it, feel free to let me know why. If you think I could improve it in some way, feel free to let me know why. Or not that. Feel free to let me know why. And if you want to see more of these, let me know. I'll probably make more of them anyway because I like showing off my builds and I make a lot of builds. This is one of the things I do in Armored Core since, you know, I get bored. I build a lot of new things every so often. I've hit the capacity on the number of builds you can carry multiple times. But regardless, this has been a lot of fun, and I hope you had fun, you know, checking out my video. If you want to see more of them, again, let me know. Have a good day. Play Armored Core. Blow the fuck out of everything.